Welcome to the Rochester, New Hampshire History Podcast, a monthly show that will shine a light on a piece of history that has been all but forgotten.
In 1904, while pitching against the Philadelphia Athletics, Cy Young of the Boston Americans throws the first perfect game in the modern era of baseball. Also in that year, the Great Baltimore Fire in Baltimore, Maryland, destroys over 1,500 buildings in 31 hours. In the presidential election of 1904, Theodore Roosevelt defeats Alton Parker. Theodore Geisel is born in 1904. He is known for his writing and illustrations of books under the name Dr. Seuss.
Also in 1904, the directors of the Rochester Country Club built a golf course, a tennis court, and a clubhouse in Rochester. What is interesting is the location of this old country club. Some may guess that it was located in Gonic, where the current country club is today. That is not the case. It was built at the far end of Walnut and Snow streets, which was all open, available real estate at the time. Today, this area, which includes Chasse, Lyons, Kendall, and Duquette Street, show no evidence that over 100 years ago a country club was located there. But every now and then, someone will unearth a golf ball or the head of a golf club when digging in their backyard.
By September 1904, 4 holes were finished, as well as the tennis court. The clubhouse at the edge of a pine grove was nearly completed and overlooked a pond and the golf course. In October of that year was the grand opening. According to this newspaper article, the opening was celebrated with a clam bake and dancing. The country club started with 34 members, and they were some of the city's most well-known citizens, such as Sumner Wallace, Leslie Snow, Willis McDuffie, and Frank Kendall.
The country club was always expanding. The number of golf holes were increased to 9 holes and later to an 18-hole golf course. Also, a large outdoor pool was built and the membership grew. This presented a problem. It needed more elbow room, but that was not possible where they were currently located. A larger site was needed. They decided upon relocating, and 62 acres were purchased in 1920 in Gonic. The new country club opened in 1922, and it afforded its members more room and more privacy than the previous location. The land was not level and a bit hilly, which was ideal since it concealed the club's property from prying eyes.
If you were wondering what was the fate of the old country club that was built off of Walnut Street, the original clubhouse was sold for $300 to Charles Watson. He dismantled it, and parts of the building were used to build his home on Academy Street. In September of 1925, the Rochester Courier reported that a fire swept through the area of the old country club, threatening homes on Washington Street. The fire was put out before damaging any homes, but the fire burned much of the former golf course. Next time you are driving around Chasse, Lyons, Kendall, or Duquette Streets, imagine over 100 years ago when a beautiful golf course occupied the land instead of houses and neighborhoods.
This ends the podcast. If you have any questions or comments, please email bobgriffinpodcast@gmail.com and come back next month for another episode of Rochester, New Hampshire History.